Number 1. I'm from Mexico. In Mexico, convenience stores named Oxxos are very common. In every corner, there's an Oxxo store. At this time, I was 12 years old. I need to say, I was, and still am, a very clumsy girl. Well, I was in the highway with my dad and my mum. It was very late, nearly 1 in the morning. It was then my dad said that he had to go to the bathroom. We stopped at an Oxxo in the middle of the dark highway. My dad went into the Oxxo and he walked quickly to the bathroom door. Meanwhile, me and my mum were hungry, so we decided to buy a hot dog or an instant lunch. My mum grabbed the instant lunch and other things we needed. That's when I noticed a man in his 40s coming into the store. He is really fucking weird looking. He had very messy black hair. His face was weird. His eyebrows were so thin and his lips were big. He had like an ugly teen mustache. He walked into the store counter and said, "Do you have some condoms?" Very lightly. It was very fucking hilarious and disturbing at the same time. My thoughts at that moment were, what the hell? Did he really say that lightly? My mum notices, so she quickly grabbed me and pulled me into the back of the store, where the Coca-Cola and other drinks were. I was dumbly thinking my mum was overreacting. But no. The weirdo notices me and my mum, and he gives us the most fucked up and disturbing smile I've ever seen in my life. He started to give us sexual innuendos and started to walk closer to me and my mum, with the bag with the condoms in it. My mum calls to my dad, who is still in the bathroom. The guy shit his pants when he saw my furious dad and ran to the door and ran away. Some people laugh when I tell this story, but really, I was very fucking scared. Weirdo Oxxo guy, let's never meet. Number 2. Now that I have a Reddit account, my friend asked me if I could post her story in this subreddit, because others know her name on this platform. This happened 2 years ago. We both live in Germany, in Berlin, a city that's a magnet for strange and creepy people, especially at night. She was leaving a party at around midnight and took the metro home. She lives in the district Pankow. She was the only passenger until a creep entered. She said he stank of vomit and alcohol. He was wearing dirty clothes and didn't have all his teeth anymore. He sat in front of her. "Can I have your number?" he mumbled, very silent. She decided to ignore him. "Hey, I want your number, you're hot." Now louder. She wasn't reacting to him and left at the next station, hoping he stayed on the train. But he followed her. First she tried to prevent that nothing is creepy. She didn't want to appear vulnerable, but he kept on asking, "I want your number, give me your number. Can you hear me? Your number." Suddenly she stopped and screamed, "Leave me alone, go away," and started to run. Unlucky like she was, she entered an empty street. It was dark and silent, but she saw the small convenience store, which was still open. She tried to run to it, but he followed her inside and beat her right into her face. She fell to the ground and the cashier yelled something at the man. He abruptly left. Thanking the cashier, she goes home, hoping her nose is okay. It didn't seem broken. But this isn't the end of the story. The guy must have kept following her. For weeks he was around her home. He was always near her, started stalking her, still asking for her number, like waiting in front of her door, asking neighbours which buzzers were hers, when he should ring when he wanted to speak to her. But her neighbours were kind enough not to give out any information about her. The creep even left her small presents on the street. Letters like, "You're the love of my life," teddy bears and chocolates. Once she met him while shopping for groceries. An apple fell down and he tried to help her by grabbing the apple. She was totally freaked out. But suddenly he was gone. Because she didn't know his name or any information, she could only charge against the person unknown. Number 3. I used to live in a foreign country. I was there because my mum works for the army. I was about 17 at the time, and my mum and sister were with me. Usually on the weekends, we like to pass the time going to the movies, since they are so cheap on the army post. This weekend was no different. Since the post we were on was so little, most of my friends also came to see the movies. And this time, 2 of my friends and their mother were watching the same movie. My mum and their mum became friends, talked outside for about 30 minutes after the movie had ended. We didn't care for what they were talking about, so we had our own teenage girl conversation about 10 feet away. While we were waiting for our mums to finish talking, a big green van with no windows slowly drives up next to us. We are in the parking lot, so we really don't think anything of it, because speed limits on the post are very slow. The van then gets almost in front of us before honking lightly, only to scare us because there was no other cars around except our parked cars. The van then speeds off and drives away, and we think nothing of it. No more than 2 minutes later, the same van pulls up about 5 feet away from us. Mind you, our mums are paying attention to us now, and the side door opens. There are about 6 men native to the country we were in, and all of them yelling for us to go with them and get in the van. My mum yelled at them that she would call the military police on them, and they started to pull away slowly, still yelling at us to come have a good time with them. So, 4 military pedophiles, let's never meet. Number 4. So this all started about 16 days ago. I live in a nice neighbourhood in town with very low crime rates. One night, at 7:30, I'm sitting in the living room playing League of Legends. The living room faces the street, and you can clearly see in and out to the street as I'm sitting there. I notice a somewhat tall woman walking past. She looks at me, then enters our garden. We look at each other, but I can see her face. I assume it's my mum's friend as she opens the door. I wait for her to look into the living room. Instead, I hear her hurtle something through the hallway. She then proceeds to scream, "Thank you for..." and then I couldn't make out the rest. I sit there shocked a while before I go running out, only to see her turn the corner. What she threw were old foam back side covers, 3 of them, and an entire old Samsung. Old as in not touchscreen. As I'm checking the crime scene, I notice a strange perfume smell. It turns out all the covers, phone, doorknob are covered in lip gloss. Strange. A few days later, I think I hear someone tap on my bedroom window. I pass it off as a leaf or something. Life goes on, and I pass it all off as a mistaken identity. Fast forward 1 to 14 days, and I'm sitting alone in the living room at 3 a.m. on a Thursday night, playing League of Legends again. I pulled the window blinds facing the road down, a habit I got into after the first incident. Before the game starts, I go for a smoke outside. As I enter the house again, I sit down facing away from the window, which is facing the garden. I get this feeling that someone is watching me, and I keep looking back, but I soon forget about it as the game starts. I have my headphones on as I start hearing a loud thump. As I take them off, I can hear that it's actually glass being broken. I run to the hall, where I see glass shattered everywhere, and someone's been trying to break down the front door. Luckily, it's armoured with wire, so you can only punch holes in it. I look out and no one's there, meaning she must be in the garden. The police come and we find 2 doorknobs neatly placed in the ground outside the door. It's been 6 days since the last incident and I haven't slept. My dog started barking last night and I stayed up all night. Number 5. So, I was in the middle of going to the bathroom when I heard footsteps coming from the roof. I was so fucking scared, so I fled to my room and hopped on my loft bed. I was really creeped out, but I had school in the morning, so I just went to sleep. The next day, I got back from school and heard muffled whispers, as once again I was in the bathroom. I got scared again, so I finished up really quickly and bolted to the family room. To my dad, my 2 sisters and my brother. I then told Dad what I had been hearing, and he said he had heard the same thing during the day, but he passed it off. But he said he would check the manhole tomorrow when he got the letter back, when my uncle gave it back, so I was very thankful. But just as my dad finished, my brother made a joke saying if someone fell through the roof. We all laughed. The next day, I woke up. My dad asked if I left the door open. I said I locked it shut, and it shut from the inside. My dad got really freaked out and said my door was open when he came out because he wanted a drink and he had to work at 1 a.m. As he was opening the door, he heard the back door slam and saw my door was open. I was so scared. I began to cry. Later that day, my dad went up onto the roof, and what he found scared me to death. He had found old food and drink cartons and cups in the ground, along with a walkie-talkie and blankets. Blankets have been missing for 3 months and the food had been going for around 3 months. And as for my locked door, I don't know what he wanted to do to me, but I'm glad I didn't get to know. So, to the man in the roof, let's never ever meet again. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. You can also leave a comment below. All feedback, good or otherwise, is always appreciated. If you have any creepy stories of your own, or have any topics that you would like me to cover, feel free to send them in via any of my social media. You can find all links to my social media in the description below. Until next time guys, make sure you lock your doors, stay safe, and I'll see you next video.